Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Northern Underground on CFRC 101.9 FM. This is Danny Addicted hanging around with you tonight from the basement of Carruthers Hall on the Queen's University campus. I have a special co-host in again tonight. The second one in a row to actually show up and co-host a show. I had a streak of about 4 weeks there where people were dropping like flies on me, and it ended up being a good time anyway. So I'd like to welcome to the show tonight, Curt Spruill.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
No problem, no problem. So we're going to talk about a number of things over the course of the hour that we have at our disposal here. That band that you heard off the top of the show was a new release by Montreal Society's Ills, who's a pretty cool band. I like them. But yeah, Curt's coming in. We're going to talk about a lot of things, some of the bands that he's played in over the course of the year, some of the bands he's in now, and also a really awesome event that's happening in Kingston, and I believe that is next Saturday.
Yes, Saturday, May 6th.
Saturday, May 6th. Yeah, we're talking Homegrown Live tonight. So why don't you tell us a little bit about the venue that you're playing there, Curt?
We'll be playing at Blue Martini. It's being hosted by Anita and Trevor, who run Roswell Rehearsals in town.
Right on, right on. And this is the second year, I believe, that they've hosted the alternative venue down there at Blue Martini.
That is correct.
Yeah. So you guys are playing, and your band is?
Fossils and Gospels.
All right, right on. And do you know off the top of your head the other bands that are playing? We know a few of them, I know for sure.
The Meringues, Nothing But Mental.
Right on, yep. Joe and Jack were in, did the show at one point.
Awesome.
They were pretty awesome.
Yeah. The Banters, I believe. About all I know off the top of my head.
They sent me something to look at, but I forgot to open it. Sorry, Anita and Trevor. I know you guys are listening right now. They're used to my ways. They sponsored the show, so they listen a lot, and I forget a lot, and then they remind me the next time I see them of what I forgot. And then
they're pretty forgiving.
Yeah, they're pretty awesome people. Speaking of the Roswells, they. And them being the sponsor, we do live bands on the show every once in a while. And last week, they were in helping out with Goldwing performing live, which is pretty awesome. Nice. Shout outs to the guys from Goldwing for a great show last week. It was a little bit different than the previous bands because generally it's pretty punk rock oriented or metal. And sometimes we like to do things a little bit different on the Northern Underground. And I think some of the music that you have brought in tonight is a little bit. We're gonna cast a net, I guess one could say, of going between some punk rock and maybe some just more interesting kind of styles. Specifically, talking about Fossils and Gospels. I was able to catch a couple of your guys' shows at the Mansion.
Oh, cool!
And I got to say, I really liked it.
Thank you. Yeah, appreciate that.
So tell us a bit about Fossils and Gospels and what that band is to you.
How do you explain it?
Well, how did you guys get started? Let's go with that. That's like the go-to
story,
easy question for me to, because it's like I try to actually avoid asking that question. It's like, tell me how it all began, just because it's just such a uninteresting question from a radio host. It's like do a little bit more research, man. Yeah. Right. But why don't we start from there?
Sure. Fossils and Gospels actually started my former band Terrestrial, which was an experimental kind of metal band.
Right.
We ran into some commitment issues, and we had a bunch of gigs booked.
Okay.
And instead of canceling all the dates, I decided to offer a substitute act. So Mike Brown, the singer from Fossils and Gospels, we got together and rehearsed some of our old songs from our previous band.
Okay.
And some covers as well, like Nirvana, Alice in Chains, Stone Temple Pilots.
Sure.
And we put together a set list, and we played. Initially, Fossils and Gospels was just an acoustic duo act.
Okay.
And the shows were well received, and we were enjoying it. So we decided to recruit other members and form an actual band.
Okay.
And that's kind of where it started. And since then, the lineup has shifted and changed a bit, and the style has evolved and changed.
Your drummer, what's his name? I recognize him every time I see him.
Martin Piper.
Okay, right, yeah, and you have a female keyboardist.
We do, yes, Shannon Smith.
Okay, and she played in a few other bands or something like that.
She used to sing in Charm the Animal.
Okay.
Who was like a progressive metal band in town.
I
really enjoyed, and that's how I became aware of her. Actually, was when I was in Terrestrial, we used to do shows with Charm the Animal.
Okay.
And that's how we met.
Right on. Cool. So, Homegrown is this really awesome festival that happens every year to I guess you could say, support the Joe Chitlin Musical Memorial Instrument Lending Library. I don't know what order those words are supposed to go into. Joe's
close,
Mill.
yes.
Joe's Mill. The Musical Instrument Lending Library, which is out in the Tet Center in Portsmouth. And basically what it is a facility where you can get a library card and go and sign out a musical instrument, and you have it for about 3 months, I believe.
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
Depending on, I think the drums, like if you sign out a drum kit, it's a different amount of time just because the
demand.
I think it's just more the having to move it around. You know what I mean? Like if you go get a banjo, you throw it over your shoulder. If you go get a drum kit, I think they give you extra time on the drums. So I think it's 30 days for a regular instrument and 90 days for a drum kit, but my facts may not be 100% correct.
That sounds reasonable, though.
Something like that. Something like that. Nonetheless, Homegrown Music Festival is a 13 genre, 12 venue event that all the proceeds that these musicians are supporting are for that specific facility to keep it in Kingston and keep it going and stuff like that. And it is actually their major primary source of revenue to keep them going all year.
Yes.
And I think last year the festival was just over, was it 10,000?
I believe so. Yeah.
I think it just eclipsed that. I think it was one of the highest grossing events that they've had in the 7 or 8 years that the event is going.
Mm-hmm.
And last year was awesome. Yeah, it was great. Great event. We're here to talk about Homegrown and how awesome it is, and specifically Blue Martini, which is presented by Roswell Rehearsals, and Curt, who's sitting to my left, is playing this year. So with that being said, you guys should all buy a bracelet. It's $10. It gets you into all the venues so you can jump around and see all your friends play. And this year is the first time since I've lived in Kingston that I can actually just buy a bracelet and go and check out everybody's band. So I'll probably I'll definitely be at the Blue Martini for a while and check out some other ones. There's the Toucan, the Mansion, there's jazz venues, Celtic venues, kind of stuff like that.
Okay.
So I'm looking forward to actually just enjoying the show.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen very often. It doesn't happen at all, really. This is the first time. So, yeah. So, do you want to get too soon?
Yes, sure.
Okay, so we're going to lead it off with, what do you want to lead it off with?
I guess we'll lead off with a song from Fossils and Gospels called Steps to Transcendence.
Cool. And generally, what we're going to do is we're going to play probably 3 tunes per little segment of music. And I got a band lined up to follow up Fossils and Gospels that is a new punk band in Kingston called All the Time Everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And so we'll go into that, and then after that, I don't know, we'll just make it up as we go along. We'll tell you what it is when we come back, and then we'll talk a bit more, and we'll play some more music. It's quite the format that I've worked out here for the shows. We'll talk. We'll play some music. We'll talk.
Yeah.
All right, so you're listening to CFRC 101.9 FM. I'm hanging around with Curt Sprule tonight of Fossils and Gospels, and that aforementioned band is what you're going to hear next. All right, we are back on the Northern Underground on CFRC 101.9 FM. This is Danny Addicted, hanging around with Curt.
Hello.
And we are talking homegrown tonight. We just heard a track from the Isotopes, who are coming to Kingston. Now, that's a show that I'm probably not going to go to, so I figured I'm going to play.
Why is that?
Figured I'm just going to play it anyway, though. I don't know. I'm not going to lie to the people and say I'm going to be at a show I'm not going to, right? But I will be at Homegrown.
Excellent.
I will be at the alternative venue presented by Roswell Rehearsals. Before that, we heard All the Time Everywhere, which is a new band in Kingston, and the song was called With Time, and we started it off with Curt's band, Fossils and Gospels. Now, on the note of your first band, the first band in that set, but your current band, Fossils and Gospels, you guys have a new member.
We do. Mr. Ricky Brandt, formerly of Shishlang. He's joining us. He will be playing bass for us now.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Really? I actually thought he was going to join you as a guitar player, but since you're the guitar player.
Yes.
Too many cooks in the kitchen.
Yep.
So how did that come about? How did Ricky end up coming into the band kind of thing? I mean, obviously with Shishlang ending, that probably would have opened that door, but...
Yes. Will had just left the band, and our previous bass player, and yeah, the timing just kind of worked out. Ricky was available. He was interested in joining, so we extended an invitation to him, and he accepted, and we started rehearsing last week. And
oh, right on. Yeah, Ricky's a great guy.
He is. Yeah, fantastic musician as well.
Yeah, Shishlang was awesome. I think we're going to play some of them coming up here shortly. Did you go to their last show at the Toucan?
I did. At Blue Martini.
Yeah, how was it? Was that a Blue Martini?
It was, yeah.
Why did I think it was at the Toucan?
Yeah, it was a great show. The crowd was just electric. Everybody was there. There was so much love in the room. Everyone who was there really wanted to be there for that.
Right. They appreciated it kind of thing.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah,
every band gets that opportunity, right? Sometimes, instead of going out with a bang, you go out with a whimper.
Yeah.
And
I've been in a few of those bands.
So have I. Actually, yeah.
Yeah, no, they were awesome. They, I think they did a show that I put together at the Tuner Dog once, and they just killed it.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
And I think they kind of called it quits because their drummer moved to Toronto with 47.
Yes, I believe so. Thing. I think that was the reason, yeah.
Yeah. Nonetheless, I would have gone to that show, but I was out of town. It happens.
Yes, it does.
But yeah, it's good to see Ricky's playing again and joining up with you guys. Now, Will, I mean, interesting story about Will. I ran into Will in Montreal when I was living there, and we were drinking beer downtown, which usually is pretty acceptable in Montreal, especially like in festival season in the summertime. We were like walking down St. Catherine Street, but apparently it doesn't really apply if you go into the corner store and buy tall cans. And yeah, he got busted first by a cop, and I kind of turned around as he was getting, like, I don't know, roughed up, I guess you can say. And I was just like, what's going on here? And the cop's like, I got you too. And I was like, ah, damn it. We had to pour our beers down the drain and stuff. And
that's unfortunate.
Yeah, good times, man, good times. Montreal, what's wrong with you? Usually so cool about stuff like that. For every bad story, though, there's like 100 good ones about
living in that city. Certainly.
That city, so. All right, so moving right along, we're gonna play some Shishlang in this next set, I believe, right?
Yes, we are.
But we're gonna lead it off with something else first.
We're gonna play a song from my one of my recording projects called With Sirens, and the idea behind that project was I recorded about close to a dozen songs, wrote and recorded all the music, wrote the lyrics and the melodies, and for each song I had a different female vocalist from the community.
Oh, cool.
Yep.
Right on.
This first song. The song we're going to play is called Die Beautiful, and my friend Jessica Marsden, formerly of the band Sovereign Council, they're a symphonic metal band from Kingston. She did the vocals and played piano on this song.
Oh, cool,
yep.
Cool. Was that difficult to do, to get a different vocalist on a lot of the different projects?
Yeah, it took a while. It was time-consuming. Scheduling was a bit of an issue.
Right, and rehearsing the songs and stuff like that. Or, like how did you go about it? Did you just kind of, like, record it and then send them the track?
Yeah, all the music was complete. Then I sent them the music, and they kind of worked on it on their own time. Then once they were comfortable and ready, they came into my home studio.
Oh, okay. That's probably the way to go about it, too, right? Because I would assume trying to have, like, practices and be like, does everybody show up at my place?
Yeah.
It sounds a little bit more like a party than anything else, right? So... All right, cool. I'm interested to hear it. Then we're going to go into some Shishlang. And what was the date on that Shush Lang show? Like
Their final show?
Yeah, it was like March 20 something.
That sounds right. Yeah.
Somewhere around there, yeah. Disappointed I missed it. They played Homegrown last year too at the second day.
Yes.
I think they played it without a singer.
Yeah, Sean wasn't available, so I think. Yeah.
Well,
You're correct.
It's too bad they're not around to do it again this year, but at least if you're a fan of Shush Lang and you like Ricky, you got another band to get behind here.
Indeed.
In addition to the followers that you already have, of course.
Our legions of fans.
legions. Oh, just wait till you leave the studio tonight. Usually at about 11 o'clock when we step out of the basement of Crothers Hall, they're all lined up there.
Oh, I don't believe that.
Tearing their clothes off. Like, the Northern Underground's amazing.
Filling my head with false hopes.
Yeah, it doesn't happen at all.
No.
If there's one out there, then we should probably be very scared.
Yeah. At least there's two of us, right?
Yeah, fair enough. All right, so you're hanging around with Curt Sproul and Danny Addicted on the Northern Underground on CFRC 101.9 FM on your radio dial. That was Needles Pins with a very relatable tune for many, I assume. Wonderful. I actually found that song because they just released a new album, and we were going to play something off that, but I just had to get that one on the show because I just love that song.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's very catchy, very catchy. And not surprising, the name of that song is You Only Call Me When You're Drunk. Before that, we heard Shush Lang. Recently divorced Shush Lang.
Yes.
Unfortunately, recently divorced Shush Lang, but another band that I've never played on the Northern Underground that I've always intended to and just never was able to get it into the right kind of vibe setting, I guess you can say. So
seemed like an appropriate night.
Yeah, it's perfect. It was a perfect segue from talking about Fossils and Gospels and Homegrown and stuff like that with them playing last year and Ricky playing in your band. So shout outs to Ricky. We know you're listening tonight. On that note, you got some other bands that you used to be in.
Yes, I used to be in a experimental kind of progressive metal band called Terrestrial, and I was with them for, well, probably longer than I should have been. But,
fair enough.
We played some good shows, put out, a few albums that I'm proud of, but
yeah, life happens.
Life happens,
not every band lasts.
No.
And but that's what makes the next band that you're in that much more enjoyable and better because it can,
Agreed.
It just makes you a stronger musician having played with other people and stuff like that, right?
Indeed, yes.
So we're gonna play some Terrestrial. What are some of the other bands that you've been in over the years?
I used to be in a band with Mike Brown, who is the singer for Fossils and Gospels.
Okay.
When we were younger, we were in a band called Beautiful Inferno, and that was more of a grunge influence band, like Alice in Chains, Soundgarden.
Right on, yeah.
And we put out an album.
There's not enough of that stuff around these days, you know what I mean?
I agree. And we played some great shows while we were in that band. Like we opened for Polly McNarlin once and Diener from the Foo Bar films.
Oh yeah. I saw that picture of you doing that the other day.
And we got
on Facebook.
Approached by Nickelback's label at one point. They expressed interest in us.
Oh, right on.
At the point that was.
Outside of the Nickelback aspect,
exactly.
The label part. I mean, they probably know what they're doing.
I'm not a fan of Nickelback, but I was willing to accept.
We were not endorsing that on this show.
That's right.
The label aspect, though, you know what I mean?
Sure.
Obviously, they would know what they're doing.
I was going to welcome that support.
Yeah, for sure.
As long as we never had to talk about their music.
Cool. So yeah, we're rolling right along. I just want to remind the listeners that Homegrown is May 6th, and the alternative venues. I mean, there's more than one. There's the Toucan as well. I don't know who's playing at the Toucan. Did they announce that yet?
Apollo is one of the bands who's playing. Yeah.
Okay. I haven't even had a chance to see them yet.
They're quite good, actually. They do some interesting covers. They do Gangsta's Paradise by Coolio.
Oh, yeah. Interesting.
Yeah, they do it quite well.
Coolio. I want to see the Weird Al version. The Amish Paradise.
I love that video.
That's great. Turning butter.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get to some more tunes here for the listeners because that's why they're here. We're gonna hear some Terrestrial, and then after that, we're gonna go into the Brains. You are listening to Curt and Dan on the Northern Underground on CFRC 101.9 FM. We are broadcasting live, as usual, out of some weird basement on Queens campus. All right, we're back here on the Northern Underground. I'm hanging around with Curt Spruill, of Fossils and Gospels tonight. Is it Fossil and Gospels or Fossils and Gospels?
Fossils and Gospels.
Fossils and Gospels. All right, cool. We are rolling right along. That was The Brains with a song called Need You Now. And then before that, we heard Terrestrial with Full Body Cast. And we got about 8 minutes left on the show because I have about a minute worth of ads to throw in there for y'all to check out. I like going with the David Suzuki stuff.
Nice. Good
Yeah,
call.
it's a good thing, you know. Eat local, take the bus kind of thing.
Yep.
And then I picked 2 show promos that are the shortest ones I can find. So if they're under 15 seconds, they're in. So we got a couple more songs to get to.
Sure.
Is there anything you want to say about these tracks leading into them? We got
the next one we're going to play is from a band called Charm the Animal. They were a Kingston progressive rock band. And,
Okay.
Our keyboardist and backing vocalist in Fossils and Gospels is Shannon Smith. She used to be the backup singer in Charm the Animal, and that's how we became aware of each other. That's how we met.
Right on.
My old band Terrestrial and Charm the Animal used to do some gigs together, and
Okay.
that's how we met.
Cool.
Yes.
Cool. And then we're going to go into
Two-Day Trio, which actually features Fossils and Gospels drummer Martin Piper along with Cole Miller from a local band $3,000 Carpets.
Okay. They're actually going to be playing live on the show, and not the next live band. They're going to be the one after.
Oh, nice. And they're also playing Homegrown Blue Martini
Perfect.
with us.
Perfect, yeah.
And Ricky Brandt was also involved in the Two-Day Trio, and the concept was first day they would get together and try to write a couple tunes. The next day they went into Roswell rehearsals and recorded it live off the floor.
Oh, nice. Yeah, because they do that fair.
Yeah.
Which the listeners should take note of.
Yes, they should.
They should. Roswell's are pretty awesome. That reminds me, I should probably actually get a hold of $3,000 Carpets because I haven't.
You should do that.
Basically. No, I mean, like, they asked, or we discussed them being on the show. I said yes, but I haven't actually given them, like, gotten back to them and be like, let's do it on this day specifically kind of thing. And there's another band ahead of them too next month, which is what are they called again? I forget, and I feel horrible for forgetting. Anyway, you'll figure it out later. I'll figure it out. I'll let you guys know. There's a lot of time. There's a couple more shows before then. Yeah, anyway. So, sorry guys. Yeah, I'm all over the place here. So we're going to hear Charm the Animal and Two-Day Trio. And we got a few minutes left on the show before we cast off here. I don't know if we're going to be back. Nick Ewan is up next with the incredible show Shed Progressions, which is some nice jazz music to take you through the night. Thank you, Curt, for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
No problem, man. No problem. And shout out to Anita Trevor out at Roswell there, and all the wonderful musicians participating in this year's Homegrown Music Festival on May 6th. I'll see you out, and I might not remember it, but I'll be there.